right, we are back with part two of that previous episode. Due to our timing regulations on this, we're going to do a two-parter session. So, back to what's going on, especially like in Indiana, how Governor Holcomb has said that a lot of it across the world, in the United States too, been saying that essential businesses open only, limiting yourself, being outside and staying at home. Do you feel like we're going too far, or do you feel like that's essential?
I feel like, you know what, no matter where you go, there's always going to be people, even before and even after this virus, people don't always pay attention. They're going to sneeze. They're not going to cover their mouth. Politically incorrect here. You're going to have your dirty butts that don't normally hygiene themselves and clean 24/7.
I see that all the time at work.
I mean, it is what it is. It's always going to be around no matter what we do. The only problem is, our biggest issue is we don't have a coronavirus fighting agent that helps limit it. And don't misconstrue anything that I say. Do I think this is very severe? Yes. Do I think elderly are at risk? Yes. It can be very harmful, and worst case scenario, people do die. But do I think that that's going to be everywhere? No. Do I think it's always going to? The thing of it is it doesn't matter what we do. If we lock ourselves down for 2 weeks, 2 months, 4 months, whatever it may be, just shut us down until we get a cure to fight it. It's still going to always be around.
Exactly. This is a quick thing to like New York. New York is hit real hard. Like California's hit real hard. But the average death by age in New York is people over 70 years old.
Well, I
think it's over 60.
And it's people. And here, guess what, America? I have asthma, and I'm a smoker, so apparently I am highly at risk. Does that scare me? No. Now, if you were to come at me and say, your mom's got it, would that scare me? Absolutely. It doesn't matter. You could give her the coronavirus, you could give her the flu. Anytime anybody has a weakened immune system, anytime anybody's body is weaker than what it normally would be, you're going to have a higher risk. It doesn't matter what it is.
Exactly.
You look at breast cancer, you get breast cancer in your 20s. Yeah, people do die, but the death rate is very much lower in your 20s getting it than it is when you get breast cancer in your 60s or 70s, because your body can't handle the radiation, the chemo treatments. No matter what, any type of virus, any type of flu, it's always going to be amplified when it gets to anybody with an incomparable immune system or anybody that's older.
Now I noticed that, I know they're doing all this stuff to try to help lessen the effects of this coronavirus. But I think a lot of people are just doing it by going by the motions and not really thinking about what they're supposed to be doing. Like, for instance, one of the guys I work with was saying they went to Burger King and the lady had gloves on, and she didn't change her gloves at all when she grabbed the money and get the food and stood in the same gloves.
Well, if we're being politically correct, when I went through training as in the health field, anytime you wear gloves, no matter what you do, you immediately change your gloves, you wash your hands. Are we seeing this in America where we're wearing gloves to the grocery store? Then I've seen pictures where people just throw the gloves on the ground and there's nothing but litter. How is that helping at all?
It's not helping at all.
It like I said, no matter what, and it may not be, excuse me, it may not be a year from now, it may be not next year, hell, it may not even be till 50, 100 years from now. But you know what's going to happen? There's going to be another virus. There's going to be another flu, just because America and society itself is just dirty. We don't think of the little things. We think about mostly ourselves, and people just don't care. With trash, with anything, because guess what? This is going to go away. Is America going to hand sanitize after anything and everything they do? No. Are they going to go back to wiping their butts and not washing their hands? Probably. You know, it doesn't matter what we do right now. Something eventually will turn again eventually.
Yeah, I see that a lot. If people will go to the bathroom, especially places where I work at too, you know. People go to the bathroom, use the restroom, and then not even wash your hands. That's pretty nasty. I mean, because even though you may not be washing your hands to fight the coronavirus, but it's the fact that you're spreading your bodily germs onto the next person by touching a doorknob or something like that. That's just nasty.
I mean, if we were going to really fight this 100% as of right now, anytime you wear your gloves into the store, you go to Walmart, you put your gloves on, okay, you touch the cart, you're walking, you grab produce. Before you grab that produce, you should take them off because you've already touched that cart. You should take them off, put new ones on, grab the produce, take those off, put a new one on before you single-handedly touch anything and everything you do. Because all you're doing is, yeah, you got gloves on, so it's not on your skin, but then you're taking it and putting it in contact with anything else you're doing. People don't understand that. People don't think about it. They're just looking at it as a me factor. Well, it's off my hands. But guess what? People still touch themselves.
Right. What do you think about that lady up there? I forgot where it was at. She sneezed on some produce, and they threw away $35,000 worth of produce, and she got arrested and charged.
Well, I mean, yeah. I mean, well, a while back, these kids were out there explaining, taking videos of them licking food in the store, or hell, there was a viral video where when the coronavirus first came out, dumbass kids were licking toilets. You remember that one?
Well, all these dumb challenges.
Yeah,
especially ones where they're eating Tide Pods or this in general. I'm just saying, natural selection. Come on.
I mean, hell, if you're eating Tide Pods, if you're eating Tide Pods and it didn't kill you then, this is God's way of smiting you down right now.
It's crazy. I mean, it's crazy all these challenges these kids are doing. I think that's funny. I mean,
the newest one is taking empty toilet paper rolls and trying to use them as straws. Have you seen that?
No.
Oh man. I mean, granted, these kids are morons and it's hilarious. But yeah, they use an empty toilet paper, the toilet paper roll, and you use it as a straw and try to drink as much as you can in one sip. And
I mean, morons. I know when we were young, we did some stupid stuff. I mean, heck, wrestling on trampoline, doing actual moves that can actually paralyze you. We did that stuff. And once one person kind of got hurt, we kind of stopped. All right, but
we weren't licking toilets. We were just kicking each other's asses. We were kids. We were having fun. You licked your wounds. You went home and you did it again tomorrow.
You know, it's so funny. I seen some these memes on Facebook, and it's like, if you survived during this, then you're immune from coronavirus. Man, how many times was it that we were outside, the bug truck become fog in the area, and we being there like in the fog of bug spraying?
Oh yeah, because hell, at one point in time they shut that down because apparently the chemicals in the truck that were being sprayed to kill the mosquitoes were actually harmful to bird eggs, and they were actually eating the material that hardens it, so it was just softening the egg and killing them. So they had to go back and make a new chemical. But hell, as kids, we were sitting outside huffing that shit right as they were coming in at night.
Well, even when you was, say, on the grill barbecue or something, you drop a hot dog, which would you pick it right up, wipe it off, and eat it? Like, wasn't that no big deal?
We all called it the 5-second rule, but I'm pretty sure if it was there for over a minute, we weren't going to stop. But hey, guess what we're going to do? We're going to sit back, we're going to take a message break, and we will see you in a hot second.
we're back from that break.
What's some great commercials, huh? I love every product and I buy it all and I will swear by it. They are fantastic, people. Go out and get you some.
Mark, it's a commercial about making a podcast.
Oh, well then, go out and get you some podcasts. Have some fun doing it. It is great. It's a good time.
Good time.
Good time. Never done it before, but I love it.
So back to when we were talking about something when we were kids. I mean, I just kind of feel like, I know it's a serious thing, but I kind of feel like it's going a little too far. I mean, do you think this kind of shows times of end times? Because people, religious folks are saying that it's part of end times. Because now 2 pastors have got arrested, misdemeanor charges for not complying with the social distancing group.
Well, and you know what? But I saw one where a pastor come out and said, as long as abortion clinics are open, there's no reason I can't be open. And I wholeheartedly agree with that.
I do too.
But the thing of it is, pastors for years, and we're talking years, hundreds of years, back in the 1800s, were calling for the end of days. Jesus himself in the Bible said he will come like a thief in the night.
Exactly.
And nobody knows.
Nobody knows.
Do I think this is part of it? No, because in Revelations, the temple has to be built, okay? The temple that Jesus destroyed when he died on the cross, it hasn't been completely rebuilt yet. Are they still working on it? Yes, that's news now. They are still working on it. Do we have an Antichrist here? Is he walking the earth? Possibly. But is he leading a charge? No. We don't have anybody in power, because the Antichrist is going to come to power because he's going to be somebody predominant. A lot of people think in the political world, because he's going to be somebody that's well known, well respected, but then he has to die and come back and confess himself as the new Messiah. So no. Is it the end times now? Right now, no.
Actually, nobody really knows. I've seen stuff online where people saying, "Look at the signs. Look at the signs." Well, there are some signs out there that kind of match, but nobody really knows when the time comes, the good Lord will come.
Here's my thing: is people want to crucify you for being a Christian. People want to hate you for reading the Bible, but at the same time, people want to sit there and quote the Bible. But what a lot of them are doing is misquoting the Bible.
Exactly.
Again, like I said in Revelations, could the Antichrist be walking the earth right now? Yes, he could. But guess what? He doesn't come in. He's not. He may be in power. I don't know, because we don't know who the Antichrist is going to be. But he has to die, and then he has to be possessed by Satan himself and resurrected, just like Jesus Christ, and pronounce himself as the Messiah. Because once that temple is rebuilt, he is going to put a statue of himself in that temple. So the temple's not completely rebuilt yet. So we don't have that. We don't have anybody, to my knowledge, nobody has died and came back and talked about being the Messiah as a popular figure. Nobody's done that yet. So are we in the end times right now? No.
Now, of course, you heard a lot of speculations out there about stuff like silly things like, oh, don't take, if they're coming with a vaccine for this COVID, don't take it because it's going to turn into a zombie. I'm like, bring it on, zombie killing, man.
I bet I would say that 75% of us, especially all those hardcore Walking Dead fans out there, we are praying for the zombie apocalypse. We want it. We're ready. All we've got so far in this apocalypse is Joe Exotic. All right, we want Ezekiel and his tigers.
I still ain't watched that show yet. I've been trying to, but it's just been hard. But putting everything aside and being realistic on it, though, condolences do go out to the family that have lost somebody.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
I know we may joke around or we talk crazy. There's all so much stuff going on right there. But the real issue, the real thing is that people have been dying. People are dying as we speak from it. So thoughts and prayers go out to those families that have lost some people with it. And I know it's even harder now that if you have a family member that is diagnosed with this, you can't even see them.
Mm-hmm.
So your family members that are diagnosed with this, they're dying alone. And how it was normal for us to be with our family members when they take the last breath. Families might get an opportunity now.
Yeah, and it is hard. And my thoughts and my prayers are with you. Believe me, every day when I pray, every morning I pray not only for our president and our government, but I also pray for this country and all those affected with it. I pray those who have lost and are grieving and those who are suffering right now with it. I pray you do have comfort and peace. And at the same time, I also pray that if you weren't a believer, that this bring you closer to God and that this help expand his kingdom of heaven right here on earth.
Now, I was listening to the K-Love, which is a Christian music station up in close to Indianapolis. And one of the topics they said on there was the lady on there talking about her and the son were talking about the things that we took for granted that we can't do right now. We had to go to Charlie's and watch a live band, or go to a park, or go get some, the stuff like that. And we can't do that now. And it's like, how does that make you feel? Like, are you going to value that stuff now more when it comes down to this dissipates?
I mean, honestly, if you're asking regular America, and since I'm the only other one sitting in a chair, I'm going to speak on behalf of them. But are you favoring it highly more? No. Because you just assume, you just know eventually it's going to come back. Are you taking the opportunity that you have right now to enjoy your family and your house and things like that? I mean, for me, yes, I am. And then eventually America will be up and running again.
Right. I mean, this is a time for people to really value family as much as possible, because things happen for a reason. Things happen for a reason.
Oh, absolutely.
And sometimes we need reminders to bring us back to what's important.
Oh, well, and you know what? It's kind of like there's only one cure for this virus, and like we were talking about earlier, and that's prayer. And that's God. For God to intervene and take hold. And you know what? This virus, what he is doing is just bringing America back to basics.
Right.
He's taking it back and he's saying, hey, you need to remember what's most important. Because if you look at it, the way things have gone, which I've only got 53 seconds left before we go to a commercial break again, so I'm going to get cut off. But what's going to happen is God's bringing us back to basic America, where the man needs to be in charge of his house. He needs to quit running. He needs to quit not being there. And don't misunderstand me when I talk about the man, and I'm not saying women, because if you look back see, now I'm getting a whole can of worms and I only got about 20 seconds before commercial break. So what I'm going to do is I will stop right here, and then we'll come back here in a minute, and I can reassess so I don't offend anybody. But hey, guess what? Right after these messages, we'll be right back. All right, so now that I have plenty of time to
Whoa!
reiterate my statement.
How are you gonna just jump in my introduction like that?
Oh, well, I know it's your show, but as a special guest, I thought I had special privileges.
Listen here, buddy. We're back. I'm gonna try this again. Mark Minger.
All right. Well, thank you now that I have the floor. But as I was saying, because I opened up a whole can of worms.
Sure did.
The
I can hear now. Oh no, he didn't.
No. Ain't nobody need no man. Well, the problem is you do. The problem is that if you had a man in the house, which I'm not condemning women who are single mothers, you know what? Because yeah, you have a role. But if you go back to biblical terms, or if you go back to the Bible itself, men had a bigger role in raising the child on their own. Like, it wasn't the women's role to raise the child. That's what America and that's what society has done to us over the course of the years. Well, the man makes the bread, the man makes the money, and the women raises the children. That's not the case at all. You know,
I remember back in the day when it was nothing for when I hear a lot of older folks say this. It takes a whole neighborhood to raise a child.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you knew getting well if you was a child and you got in trouble, you're getting it from everyone down the street before you even got home.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. But the thing of it is the home is where it starts. And the man needs to take hold of his home. You know, at the same time, you got to understand that home life, that child, that woman, nothing is yours. You don't own it. God gave that to you. Thank you. God gave that to you. You are nothing but a manager. You are nothing but a servant. Okay? But in biblical times, the man was the one that raised the child, and the man was the head of the house, and his whole control was the children itself. And, you know, America needs to get back to those type of basics. Women play a great role. And you know what? I have an amazing mother, and I wouldn't be who I am today without my mother. But at the same time, America needs their daddy. And their daddy is the one upstairs in heaven. And they need to realize that if there is a failing home and they go to church, then that failing home is going to fail in a church, which will result in a failing community, which will result in a failing state, which will result in a failing nation, which is where we're at. But vice versa effect, if we have a God-fearing people understanding that nothing, I don't care if you're a man, woman, black, white, green, purple, whatever you are, anything and everything you have in your life is God-given. You own nothing. Until you realize you are a servant and you are just a manager of his stuff. Yeah, you had a kid. Okay, well, that's mine. He's my blood. Well, guess what? You didn't get pregnant unless there was God. And guess what? He owns that. He gave you that. He gave you that to manage. So therefore, what you need to do is manage it according to him. And then therefore, you will have a successful house, which will lead to a successful church, which will lead to a successful community, which will lead to a successful state, which will lead to a successful nation. And this coronavirus, this plague, is getting us back to the basics of what that needs to be. Whatever that was.
Well, I think that there's been a lot of issues, a lot of reminders this year that have brought people back together, or where they need to be put in the mind frame of putting them back together. Like, for instance, like the Kobe Bryant incident. Now, that incident brought a lot of fathers and their daughters back together. When that's in, or just the fact that the parents and the fathers and their kids. I mean, you and your son's relationship is top notch.
Yeah, been close.
But we shouldn't have to have these reminders in life to do what we're supposed to be doing in the first place.
I know, and you said, when you said earlier, are we taking the things for granted as far as being out there at the bars, at Charlie's, doing this and that? No, what we're doing is we're neglecting our home life, and we're taking those for advantage, because the thing of it is, we just assume it's always going to be there, it's ours, and it's not.
Bingo. So, main thing is, people, is that look at the signs. Take this time that if you're considered a non-essential employee and you're off work and you have a family, take that time and value that time. That's what really matters. I mean, I hung out with my dad last night. We hung out watching a TV show for 2 hours, and we did some little stuff around the house. But if I was at work, that wouldn't have happened, because I worked so many hours. I know I don't go see my parents as much as I can, because I don't want my little nephew getting sick, because he's still a baby. But it's the fact of the matter that the 2, 3, 4 hours that I had with my dad yesterday, I barbecued, we watched this TV show, had some laughs, did some ideas on what we need to do to fix the house up. It's that time that was needed is important. And I think as America, or the fact that the world itself, we don't do that. There's a lot of examples in the world today that we need to value what we have, because other countries out there are worse.
Oh, it's 10 times worse. If you look the way other countries value families and value women, or this or that, like people are talking about women equality here. We're going back to all of a sudden the 1950s, 60s. We want equality, and it's been there. How all of a sudden, just because we got a new president in 2016, now all of a sudden it's a concern? No, it's always been there. But the fact of the matter is, they want equal pay. That was the biggest thing. Or they just dislike Trump, so he made one comment. But yet, on the Democratic side of it, you got Joe Biden, who's running for president right now. He's sniffing and huffing women's hair.
Creepy Joe.
Oh, creepy Joe. We won't even get started on that, because this is a whole coronavirus thing. But anyways, even though the Me Too, you know what? Even though the Me Too movement all of a sudden sponsors him, but we crucified Bill Cosby, y'all stupid. I said it. Yeah. But anyways, so to wrap up this coronavirus, it's basically, you got to get America back to basics. I do feel I am sorry for the families that have suffered or are suffering through this time. You know what? It's been fun having this little conversation.
And I appreciate you coming, taking time out of your busy schedule to join this podcast.
I love it. It's my first time, and we did it, man. We made it. We even had a 2-parter.
Yeah, and so we're gonna wrap this one up. And stay tuned to the next podcast. We're going to talk about how the coronavirus has affected the sports world. And I'm really riled up about that one. So, have a good night. Be safe. Wash your hands, people. Stop being dirty. Keep your head up. Stay in prayer. Got anything else to say, Mark Minger?
I just want to thank you for having me here, man.
All right, we out.